It's Mizzou That's Who here on KC Sports. We're talking Franklin, hanging out with Maggie Johnson for this fine week. No game to talk about, no game to recap, no game to preview on this edition of Mizzou That's Who. Missouri does get placed into a bowl game. College Football Playoff bracket is announced, and all kinds of stuff have happened since the last time we've recorded for National Signing Day. But Maggie, how you doing?
Doing good. Just actually kind of enjoying a week of no games and no stress. I mean, last week was kind of similar because we were just watching other games, which is always fun, but we do have Army and Navy this week. We're not going to preview it for you, but one of the biggest rivalries in college football. So
I do always enjoy watching that football game too. It's always a good game. And I what I really appreciate about Army Navy is that a lot of time you anticipate like one team is like really rolling coming into it and like, oh man, Army's having a really good year.
Never happens.
And then Navy will beat them. You know, it's like it's so unpredictable in that regard, and it is always a very fun game to watch. Glad that we'll have that one on the TV. But Missouri does get selected for the Gator Bowl in Jacksonville, Florida. I wonder where they're going to have that bowl game because, you know, they have to move the cocktail party because Jacksonville is getting a new stadium. I wonder where that bowl game is going to get relocated to because, you know, they've had to relocate the Bahamas Bowl. Now they're playing the Xbox Bowl, and I think Frisco is where that one's going to be with Missouri State and Arkansas State, actually. I think are the two teams in that one.
So will this be the last year that it's at?
Yeah, I think it will be. I think it'll probably be the last year it'll be at in Jacksonville until like that new stadium opens, because it's going to be a couple years because they're building the stadium on the old site of the stadium. So even I think, wow, I'd have to look this up, but the Jags are doing something where they're playing somewhere else too. So they're getting a complete new stadium in Jacksonville. It's going to be super cool. I don't know if like the renderings, it looks like a spaceship, but this could be one of the last. Maybe next year they have like half capacity Gator Bowl, right? It could be one of those things. But December 27th.
There's enough stadiums in Florida that you could keep it still to feel like the Gator Bowl.
Probably go to like Orlando and play it at like Camping World Stadium or something like that. Like
for sure,
it's probably what the plan's going to be. But taking on the Virginia Cavaliers. Virginia had a pretty decent year, 10-3 Cavs. Didn't end up going to their conference championship, so didn't end up making the college football playoff.
They did go to Virginia played in the ACC.
They lost to Duke.
They lost to Duke.
Sorry, they lost their conference championship. Yes.
Yeah.
Because that's what caused all the chaos in the college football playoff, is that they lost to Duke in the college football playoff. That's right.
And Duke's coach was like pushing, like, Duke deserves to be in the playoffs. I'm like, you absolutely don't. You absolutely don't. I'm like, the only reason you're in that was basically a tiebreaker technicality type situation. There's no reason that a 7-5 team should be playing in a conference championship game. Honestly, I didn't even look at what happened, so I don't even know why it ended up that way, because I do know that Miami only lost 2 games, and one of them was an out of conference. So very interesting to see how all of that went down with that tiebreaker. I should probably look into it a little bit more, but
that's the ACC. I don't think it really matters. Yeah. Because nobody cares about the ACC is really what it came down to. Yeah, that's a good question, though. Yeah, I don't know how that ended up being the case with the ACC and why that ended up being. I'll look into it a little bit, but it is very odd. Yeah. The 2025 champ was an 8-5 overall team. Because they were 6-2 in conference, Duke was, and Miami was 6-2 in conference, so they must have had a tiebreaker of some sort in terms of the conference. So yeah, it looks like Miami's 2 losses were to in conference teams, and obviously Georgia Tech was 6-2 as well. SMU was 6-2. Pitt was 6-2.
I guess I was thinking Notre Dame lost that out of conference game to Texas A&M, which is a whole nother nother issue.
It's been quite the what is it? Has it been 3 days since they announced the bracket? And it's felt like it's been so long. I tell you what, Maggie, there was a point a little bit on like maybe it was early Saturday where I was like, I don't know how to hear any more about the selection process. I'm tired of hearing about it. I wish that there was a way where we didn't have to hear about every single situation at every single moment when you're watching all these championship games, and I was just so exhausted. And not like, we love college football, but I was just like, I don't want to hear about the selection committee anymore. Like, just give me the teams and move on. And now we got to hear about all these players, all these people talking about the selection process, and it's so exhausting to me. Maybe I'm just fatigued by the whole process, but I just got to the point where at this point I was just like, I'm just tired of hearing about it.
Well, the selection committee doesn't even know what they're doing. I mean, it's still, with this 12 team, it's just still obviously so new. So they're trying to, I think they're trying to do what makes the most sense out of it, which putting Miami in over Notre Dame does make sense. Miami beat Notre Dame. Like, you have to look at it like that. The issue that a lot of them had, which I also understand, is it's like, then why was Notre Dame ranked ahead of them for all of those weeks?
Yeah.
And then they don't change it until the last one. But I will say, you can tell who are Notre Dame fans and who aren't Notre Dame fans, because basically, obviously, as people listening to this podcast already know, Notre Dame opted out of their bowl game, the Pop-Tart Bowl, which, I'm sorry, but if you're going to go to a non-college football playoff bowl, like, go to the Pop-Tart Bowl. That's actually just a fun bowl. I mean, it looks like a good time. A couple years ago when K-State was eating the Pop-Tart, that looked like fun to me. But it's frustrating to see them opt out and to be like, as people have been saying, take their ball and go home, because they were unhappy with what happened. And now you have these players that will never play in their last college football, or they did already play in their last college football game and just didn't know it. I don't know. It's a lot of crybaby type of stuff. And
sure,
like, I get that that's going to happen when you have fans, but we're not just talking about fans. We're talking about the athletic department and the AD and the coach and some of the players. It's been a lot with Notre Dame this week.
It's tough because it's one of the biggest brands in college football too. To have one of the biggest brands in college football be like, oh, we didn't get our way, so we're not going. Like, I understand they're upset that they're not. And it is ridiculous. Like, two things can be true at the same time. It's ridiculous that they have a committee to pick the 12 best teams to compete for a college football playoff. Like, what are we doing? They need to figure something out, like, standings wise. Like, they need to basically do what the NFL does, where they just like break off into a league and make it like its own thing and have standings dictated. Because at that point, then you don't argue, right? When no one's arguing when the NFL, like, if a team doesn't make the playoffs, like if the Chiefs don't make the playoffs this year, you can't be like, oh, well, the selection committee had it out for them, like win more games, right? Like that's the issue. You play a standardized schedule. Everybody plays the same people. The same type of schedules. Like, that's probably the only way you're going to get it to where people don't bitch and complain about everything that's going on. And that's true at the same point. Like, I agree with, like, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. You have a group of people who meet in a conference room and decide, yeah, these are the 12 teams that will compete for our national title. That's crazy.
Actively at their schools. That's a problem too.
Yes.
Is that nobody should be a current member of a university. Like, Hunter Yurachek is the current athletic director for Arkansas. Now, obviously, Arkansas won 2 games, so it wasn't an issue. But you do have these people that are likely maybe fighting for their university or fighting for a conference, because the SEC does make more. Like, they got 5 teams in.
Mm-hmm.
They do make a lot of money from getting 5 teams in. So I think that everybody should be formerly related to a university and not currently related.
I think that's entirely fair too in the selection process. But I mean, at the same time, it's a ridiculous process, but it might be even more ridiculous to be like, well, since we didn't get our way, we're not gonna do anything else. That message doesn't get sent across as well as they want it to come across. I don't think. I understand what they're saying, like, oh, we don't want them to use our Notre Dame brand for if we're not going to compete for a national title, which comes off incredibly pretentious. But nevertheless, I understand, I guess, from that point of view. But it's still ridiculous to be like, well, we're not going to play anymore. We're not going to play in any of these bowl games. It's disappointing to not even like to see Notre Dame do it, and then all of these other 6-win teams who have lost coaches be like, well, we're not going to play either. Like, that's like, what are we doing? Like, what are we doing, guys?
Yeah. yeah, you and I talked about this a little bit. I'm okay with the 5-win teams not playing. I think some of them accepted their bowl. Like I think Mississippi State accepted their bowl, but Kansas didn't. Who's another 5-win school? Auburn didn't accept theirs either. Whatever. But when you've got K-State, Iowa State, a couple of bigger brands in the Big 12 conference refusing to play, I think, and I get that they don't have a head coach. They would have to bring an interim on, but it's still great exposure for your brand on a national level. And it's great for the players. I know, just give the ones the opportunity to opt out if they want to opt out. That's how I feel about Notre Dame, because everyone's like, well, it doesn't benefit these players. Okay, how many of them are actually going to get drafted? 5, 6, 7 at the most, probably. If even that, I don't know. Obviously, Jeremiah Love is going to get drafted and he wouldn't play regardless. But there's going to be guys that aren't going to be drafted, are never going to play a down of football again in their life. And that's the exact same way at K-State. It's the exact same way at Iowa State. So, yeah, to me, I don't understand taking a conference fine as opposed to making your school money. That doesn't really make sense to me.
Yeah, I'm glad that these teams got fined too, so it makes it even worse. I do like it, though, in conversations with K-State and Kansas fans, I can be like, well, it just means more in the SEC, you know? You just got to play the games. It just means a little bit more. Like, that's why Missouri had to dip from the Big 12, because it means more, you know? We want to play football games at the University of Missouri. We don't want to cower away for anybody. And I know, like, I get what you're saying, like, right? Like, Iowa State, they lost their head coach. Kansas State, Kleiman steps down. He retires. They get Colin Clyde, which probably was the best case scenario for them, I think. I think that they kind of fall upwards in that regard. But it's not the first time you'd have to play with an interim coach. Like, what did Jeff Brom went from like Purdue to Louisville, and then Purdue and Louisville played each other, and he didn't coach in the game, right? Like, so like that wouldn't be the first time that there would be an interim coach in a bowl game. It's not like, that's the thing for me, is like, oh, the calendar is messed up. It is. The calendar's messed up. It is hard on the players. It's hard on the coaches. It's hard on everybody. That's because they're trying to abide by the school calendar as well, which also kind of makes it a little bit tough. But to just not play in a bowl game, as you mentioned, Maggie, you're taking fines from your conference. You are negating an opportunity to make more money for the school. You're negating another game on the calendar, another time for another opportunity for these players to play, and weeks of practice time for these players to get better. That's what, and we talked about that when Missouri was fighting for bowl eligibility, of like how important that was to get bowl eligible. Is like you get those extra 3-4 weeks, a month worth of practice under the belt for these players, and apparently must not mean that much if they're just willing to just say no to just sit on the side.
I miss when bowl season like mattered. Bowl season used to be so much fun, and people used to take pride in winning that bowl game and things like that. And now it's and here's the thing that's funny to me about bowl games, right? Is if you go into a bowl game and you lose and you go 6-7, you don't hear the end of it from your rivals. Like, oh, you lost a bowl game, blah, blah, blah. But then they also, if they're not playing in it or something like that, they want to tell you that it doesn't matter.
Right.
There's a lot of like hypocrisy in the bowl world. I just wish that all mattered again, because it's just another month and a half-ish. I don't know when bowl games officially start or when the national championship
Pretty
is.
soon.
The national championship is January 19th, I think.
Yeah.
So you're getting another 5 weeks of football. Like, come on. You're going to go 7 months without it. What? Give me that extra month all day long.
Wow. The first bowl game is the Celebration Bowl, and it is on December 13th. This weekend.
Holy. Who is that?
It is South Carolina State versus Prairie View A&M. That is at Mercedes-Benz Stadium. And, you also have the Bucked Up LA Bowl hosted by Gronk. What in the world? Boise State versus Washington. That is also Saturday.
Oh,
so those two games will be Saturday on Army-Navy weekend.
Yeah, that's kind of crazy.
Damn.
But also cool that first game that was, did you say Prairie A&M versus
Prairie View A&M versus South Carolina State, yeah.
They get to play it at Mercedes-Benz. Like, how cool for those programs. Like, they don't have to play in a bowl game. They could say it doesn't matter, but that's a huge opportunity for those schools and those fan bases to do that. So, yeah, I'm still all for it. I know people will be like, it doesn't matter, but I don't care.
Missouri's lone bowl game team that they beat to make a bowl game, the Louisiana Raging Cajuns, are in the 68 Ventures Bowl in Mobile. They take on Delaware. And so shout out to Delaware and Missouri State for both getting bowl eligibility, because usually in your first year up, you're not bowl eligible.
Mm-hmm.
But because of the opt-outs, but because of all of the stuff going on, they are able to be bowl eligible.
And Missouri State's in the Xbox Bowl that you were talking about too. I'm like, those players are probably all getting Xboxes. Like, it's cool opportunities for them.
Super cool. I'd be stoked to play in the Xbox Bowl. That's at the Star too, which is interesting because that's the practice facility for the Cowboys. Been there a couple of times. It's where they host the Shrine Bowl. They played at the Star as well. So it's a cool venue. It's a cool place to play it. It's almost like a Kibbe Dome-esque, right? Of like how it's like domed like that, how it's side and side. Pretty cool. So I'm excited to see that one go down. And as we mentioned, Missouri does get the Gator Bowl. It's been a minute since the Tigers played in the Gator Bowl. I can't remember the last time.
We've also only played Virginia one time.
Yep.
In our we do hold
1973.
Yeah.
Missouri got it over on 31-7 in Columbia.
I was going to ask if it was a bowl game or if it was that. Yeah, so that's exciting. I have some friends that are Virginia fans very randomly.
Yeah.
I know. I know. It's very random, but yeah, so it's been a little bit of fun, like, poking at them. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I'm looking at the kind of the Missouri's history right now and all-time bowl results. It looks like they've won a couple of Gator Bowls back in the day, or lost a couple of Gator Bowls. Sorry, back in the day in the 40s and 50s. Trying to see the last time that they played in a Gator Bowl. Would it have been that far back? Maybe it is. 1968, they beat Alabama 35-10 is what it's looking like for Gator Bowl. Would have been the last time that they played in that one. So
the good old days when we beat Alabama. But no, I guess it's been an ACC, SEC Bowl for a while, and we obviously haven't played in it since we've been in the SEC. So why would we have played in it?
True.
When we were in the Big 12? So it does make sense.
That's a good point. We'll talk about that a little bit more and some other stuff going on. But Tigers, six different Missouri Tigers earn all conference honors. That's between first and second team. We're going to take a break, though. We're going to pay some bills. We'll be back right after this. Missouri, your moment is finally here because DraftKings Sportsbook, America's top-rated sportsbook app, is now live in your state. Now you can make every game even more exciting with same-game parlays, money lines, props, and more, all from your phone, all safe, secure, and easy to use. Missouri fans know game day. The tailgates, the noise, the passion. Now with DraftKings Sportsbook, you can bring that same energy to every snap, every touchdown, every win. And right now, new Missouri customers can bet just $5 and get $300 in bonus bets instantly. No waiting, no nonsense, just pure action powered by America's top-rated sportsbook app. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code KCSN. New Missouri customers bet just $5 and get $300 in bonus bets instantly. That's code KCSN. The crown is yours. In partnership with DraftKings Sportsbook. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 plus, physically present in Missouri. Eligibility and restrictions apply. Terms at DraftKings.com/sportsbook. Bonus bets expire 7 days after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see sportsbook.draftkings.com/promos.
My name is Terrell Jolly. A lot of people call me TJ, founder and CEO of Integrity Capital Management. So Integrity Capital Management originally started out as a property management firm, but we slowly transitioned to what is described as an incremental development firm that's focused on situational housing. I know most people say affordable, but we believe in creating housing for people that are actually in need and built to the end user. I believe everyone needs a home because when you have home, you have hope. The reality is that when you're building a business, one thing you don't think about is like what a true banking relationship means. And, I had the honor and privilege of meeting Debbie early on in my career when I was just trying to get going. And as a small business, it's really challenging at times because people don't understand the concept or not believe the longevity because you're just getting started. But Debbie was willing to take a chance on me, be patient with me. I almost look at it like a grassroots initiative. She's seen and believe what I'm about. Anybody that's really true about their business and want to get some things done, I would definitely trust hands down Emprise, because Deb's team, along with Aaron and Jackie and all the amazing people that work behind the scenes, even from the treasury side, I would say, hey, give them an opportunity, because you won't be disappointed, and you will actually be in hands that actually somebody care and that will see you from start to finish.
So Maggie, I did some research into the ACC tiebreakers, because this is really interesting, because I had to look into it. Duke qualified for the ACC championship game because it's one of 5 teams tied at second for 6-2 in conference play. We mentioned that. None of their tiebreakers had college football playoff rankings into it, but some of the other conferences do, of like, okay, if you guys have the same, like, where is your ranking in the college football playoff? Like the American, that's kind of where it was. The American does it to maximize its ability to qualify for one of the top 5 non-at-large spots, which makes sense, right? Like, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
If the ACC followed a similar path, it would have been Miami versus Virginia, and then the winner would have been in no matter what, right? Your conference winner gets in. It's kind of no one really knows what the tiebreaker was. They just determined that it was Duke, is what it kind of says. It's just that the ACC went through its list of tiebreakers and determined Duke was the beneficiary. So that's odd.
Yeah. And I wonder if it looks at strength of schedule or anything like that, because at least, like we talked about a little bit ago, Miami beat Notre Dame, who they were, trying to battling to get into the playoff spot. Who else did Miami play? I know I'm pretty sure Miami lost to Georgia Tech, right?
Yeah, Miami lost to Georgia Tech, yeah. Who Georgia Tech ended up having 3 losses, right, in there. So, like, that, I mean, that maybe takes it into account. I don't know, but...
Yeah, I can't remember who Duke played that was very worthy. I feel like they lost to Illinois in a out of conference. But I don't know. I don't see how that benefits you, and I'm sure the ACC will be changing their system because...
Oh, they have to now, because now the ACC we already didn't take them seriously before, and now we don't even take them seriously. Okay, I just found I'm deep into the ACC website, the team conference website, and I have now pulled up a PDF of their tiebreakers, and this is 3 or more team tie, right? Because there was a lot of teams that were 6-2. It will be used by either identifying one championship game participant, identify both championship game participants, or eliminate teams from 3 or more. Man, this is crazy. Combined head-to-head win percentage amongst the tied teams if all tied teams have common opponents. If the tied teams do not have common opponents, the tied team that defeated the other tied teams will go. So, and then basically there's a whole list of win percentage against common opponents. It's a lot of common opponents type stuff, right? So I don't know what back room they had to go in to make sure the Duke Blue Devils pulled this one out, and the fact that they won that game makes it even more hilarious, I think.
Yeah, I'm trying to look up Duke's schedule right now.
Yeah, Missouri playing that Virginia team, who is a very good football team. Chandler Morris, in his, I think, 43rd season in the NCAA, has found a good spot for him there, and they've had a good run there with Jamari Taylor as well. They got a good running back, Tony Elliott, good coach over at Virginia, kind of got them ready to go. We'll break down that matchup a little bit more with some more people who know the Virginia Cavaliers a little bit more, but that was always a team kind of peripherally I was watching, are they going to get into the college football? Are they actually going to kind of do it? And they didn't, but it should be an interesting matchup with everything going on with the Gator Bowl as well. Are you going down? Are you going down to Jacksonville for this one?
I haven't decided yet. Tickets are crazy expensive. And I think it's just that right after Christmas time where kids and families are still not in school. So they're like, let's go to Florida. So I haven't decided if I'm going to do it yet. But I mean, tickets are round trips are $600 plus. And I'm like, I don't know if it's worth 2 days for me there, but we'll see.
I had not really looked because I'm going to be I'm gonna be in Destin on the 28th, so it was like I'm not gonna go to Jacksonville and then Destin. And it's also, I like to do like the road trip thing because when they were in Dallas, it's an easy road trip. Nashville's an easy road trip. Jacksonville's not that easy of a road trip. And I don't know if we have a lot of listeners in Jacksonville. Not that great of a city though either. So like that's the other part. I don't know if I want to stay in Jacksonville. But yeah, it would be a bum. I'll be bummed to miss out on going to the game, but yeah, I think it'll be. I think they'll be okay if I sit this one out in Jacksonville. I don't know if I'll make it down there, but
I've only been to 10 games this year, and I don't know if they might be disappointed in me not going to an 11th. But.
That's right. I haven't been to one this year, right? So I haven't been to one. You've been to 10. Maybe some of the powers that be will be all right with us sitting out in Jacksonville. Not going to Jacksonville. Okay. Let's talk about some of these players here because we might have some opt-out news too the next time that we talk of like some players that are choosing like, hey, I'm not going to be playing this game. Some players that are going to just, hey, I intend to enter the transfer portal, whether that be whatever it is, we'll talk about it. But Missouri did have 6 players named to the all-conference team, 4 on the first, 2 on the second. Those 4 first-teamers are Ahmad Hardy, Keegan Trost, Zion Young, and Josiah Trotter. I don't think really any shockers there. I think we kind of all anticipated all 4 of those guys to be there. The second team was Caden Green and Damon Wilson. Both of those guys, I think, could have had a pretty good shot at first team.
Yeah, I think Damon Wilson for sure should have been first team. At least, Caden had a couple of games that he didn't play in.
True.
So,
yeah, that's right.
I mean, kind of makes sense, but I'm very shocked to not see Damon Wilson on that first team. I think he even at one point was leading in pressures, or it does lead in pressures or something like that. So a little bit surprised, but I mean, we led the SEC in the amount of players that are on that first team with 6 total. We didn't lead the entire SEC. I know Oklahoma had 10. A couple of those are their special teams guys because they have a good kicker and we don't. So, kind of makes sense. But yeah, you're very excited for these guys because you're making an imprint on the SEC, putting 4 guys on the first team, and players see that, like recruits see that.
Yeah, it's good to have those guys honored. According to Mizzou's press release here, he had Wilson had 9 sacks. He's 3rd in the SEC, 16th nationally, 10.7 pass rush productivity grade from PFF, ranks 8th nationally, and leads the SEC. He also has a interception, hurried the quarterback on a team lead 12 times. He had 12 quarterback hurries. So good statistical year for really all those guys. I think Caden Green and Keegan Trost also, like, glad to see them getting their due. Keegan Trost had a phenomenal year, and we didn't really talk about him a whole lot. Yeah. And so that's good for an offensive lineman, right? That he came in there. The transfer from Wake, right? He came from Wake.
Yeah.
He came in and was just incredibly consistent on that the right side over there. So good to see all of those guys get their nods. Ahmad Hardy, of course, was going to be the first team running back. He's getting All-American nods from like these different these media outlets. I think CBS Sports just named him as an All-American. The Athletic put him as an All-American. He'll probably be an All-American, and I don't know if he'll win the Doak Walker.
I don't think he will, and it has nothing to do with me not thinking that he's the best running back.
Yeah, no, for sure.
If you watched him every single game, and I'm not saying I haven't, like, I watched a lot of Jeremiah Love. We've watched him for many years. We know he's talented. We get it. But Ahmad Hardy's just as good.
Right.
Just as good. The way that he's breaks these tackles and his yards after contact and all of that, it's insane. He absolutely deserves the award if he were to get it. I just, especially with everything that's gone on this week with Notre Dame, I think they'll give it to Jeremiah Love. And I'm not saying he's not worthy of it. He's a great player, but it's hard to continuously watch your running backs be top 3 in the country, according to everybody, and just never win it. Especially when maybe a couple of times they should have. So it's hard when your name isn't Notre Dame or Bama or something like that, because that's what they watch more. They watch Mizzou less.
Sure. Yeah. I'm trying to see here when the schedule announcement is, because we did see that Yep. Diego Pavia won the Johnny Unitas Golden Arm Award. Eddie Robinson Award went to Kevin Cahill from Lehigh. Caleb Downs won the Lot Impact Trophy. And it looks like here the Doak Walker will be the 12th. So the 12th was when we'll know that one. That's when a lot of these do come out. That's Friday, right? Yeah. So Friday the 12th is when a lot of these, I think they have the award show right on ESPN where they just run through a bunch of them. I think is kind of what they do. But I think I saw that. Who's the kid from Texas Tech? Martinez, the linebacker. He won the Nagurski. I thought I already saw him with that trophy. So, yeah, kind of crazy. But
do you think that Diego Pavia is a Heisman candidate or finalist? Like in your mind?
Oh no, no, he's not.
I was honestly baffled.
Yeah, the Heisman finalists are crazy. I do think it should be Fernando Mendoza, probably winning the Heisman. And if he doesn't win it, like, I mean, what kind of politics went into the other person winning? It was kind of like, what would it be? I was surprised it was him, and like, good for Jeremiah Love too for like making it there. But like, it didn't really like that was Julian Sam was kind of a weird one to me too. I was like, who are all these other people with Fernando Mendoza here?
It feels kind of like a down year, a little bit of a down Heisman year.
Yeah, for sure. And like, I thought that. Again, the Texas Tech kid should have made it as well. Like, he had a turnover in like 10 games or something like that, which is an insane. Like, defensively, I know they're never going to give it. This award is turned into the best quarterback. Who was the best quarterback on the best team, basically, which is a bummer.
And if it's not that, it's what have you done with your brand? Because that's the only reason I think Diego Pavia is there. Yeah, Diego Pavia threw for 129 yards against Mizzou.
You get outdueled by
Matt Zollers came in and played a quarter and a half, and he threw for more yards than Diego Pavia. Yeah. Now I get it. We have a good defense. I think he also Pavia didn't play well against Alabama. So you have who was the other? And LSU. So 3 good defenses he didn't play that well against. If that was a Mizzou player, I hate to be like, woe is me, but he'd be out of contention at that point. If he's not playing well against the good defenses, he would be out of contention at that point. We all know that. Why do you think that Ahmad Hardy isn't in it? It's because he ran for 50 something yards when he played Alabama. Mm-hmm. So it's like you have these different guidelines for some players, and I think a lot of it's just based on your brand. And Diego Pavia has a big brand.
Yeah, he does. And he's got I've always liked Diego Pavia. We've known this on the podcast. He's also 23 years old, playing against a bunch of 18-year-olds, which also kind of helps sometimes when you put all this into perspective. But I think
another year.
Did he get another year?
He's trying to get another year.
He needs to go on Indeed and find a job is what he needs to do. Holy cow. He needs to go to LinkedIn is what he needs to do. He needs to apply some of his life skills to those areas. But yeah, it looks like, according to DraftKings, Mendoza's minus 1,200 favorite to win the Heisman right now. So that he makes the most sense. Like, he's, I think, kind of the all year is like Indiana's, I don't want to say Cinderella run, but Indiana's run is happening. Last year was probably the Cinderella run, and now, I mean, they beat Ohio State in the Big Ten championship. Like, that's kind of a big deal.
Could also be Indiana's first Heisman winner. I just had to look that up, but that's what I figured it was. They've been one of the worst programs in college football since its inception. So, good for them though. I was talking to my friend Logan that you know. Yeah. I was talking to him the other day, and I was like, it sucks. It's great watching Indiana. I am so I don't know if I've ever been jealous of a team like I've been jealous of Indiana, and it's because of this happening at the right time. Like, Mizzou gets good, and it's the year before the 12-team playoff. I'm just I'm so jealous of the timing, because you don't know if Indiana is going to regress. I like Kurt Cignetti. But you don't know what's going to happen when Mendoza's gone and you lose all these other players that are more experienced players, seniors, grads, stuff like that. I just get so jealous that our timing wasn't right, and schools like Indiana's was.
I think it's fair. that has kind of been the story of Mizzou, though, right? Of like the timing not quite being right, like being a year off in a lot of the stuff. It is an interesting point. I will say, though, that Cignetti's been really good in the portal. Obviously, Mendoza was a portal lad. They had Curtis Rourke last year, who Rourke was a transfer from Ohio. And so, like, he's been pretty good in the portal. So that gives you a lot of, if you're an Indiana fan, I guess. I don't know how many Indiana fans are listening to this podcast right now, but that gives you hope about how they can kind of sustain it a little bit. But, yeah, I had people tell me that, Ohio State didn't show anything because the Big Ten championship doesn't matter. I'm like, okay. All right. Yeah. No. Sure.
Get out of here.
Indiana was better than you.
Yeah.
And they showed it.
You think that Ohio State doesn't want to win that game?
Right.
They played 13 games at this point. You think that they haven't shown anything? I mean, they played freaking Michigan and beat them handedly. So, yeah, throw that out the window at this point. Ohio State absolutely wanted to keep Indiana from winning their first Big Ten title since the 20s or 40s or something like that.
Since like Woodrow Wilson was president or something like that.
Yeah, they still wanted to exert their dominance and they didn't. And so great for Indiana. So
that all was the conference championship week. It was fun because of all the chaos, right? Duke winning and everything added all to the chaos of it all. I saw this. We hadn't talked about this a whole lot, Maggie, I don't think, in terms of Eli Drinkwitz's contract. That there's a clause in it now. Now that I think Power Mizzou, Cody Goodwin wrote a story about it, and Gabe, I think, followed up with it a little bit about the contract details of Eli Drinkwitz's contract. Now that, because works for public university, you can see all those numbers and everything. Here's how his base salary works. It goes to 10.25, and then he's got escalators every year, right? So it's 10.25, 10.45, 10.55, 10.85, 11.05, 11.25. But what's interesting, I don't know if you've seen this, Maggie, there's an automatic extension trigger in his contract. So if Missouri wins 8 regular season games in any season during his new contract, the term of the contract will automatically extend by 1 season. So that means the salary for the automatic year will be $200,000 greater than the previous year of the term. So if Missouri wins 8 games this next year, for example, the term will extend through 2032, and his 2032 base salary will be $11.45 million. If Missouri wins 8 games again, the term then will extend to 2033. So he has these extensions every time he wins 8 games. His contract gets extended by a year. This only applies if Missouri wins 8 regular season games. So if the Missouri goes 7-5 in the regular season and win a bowl game, it will not trigger that as well. So I think that's an interesting little wrinkle that was added into his contract.
I think it's interesting too. I saw a bunch of people upset about it, and it was funny because I was reading some other tweets that were put out. This isn't like something that's uncommon. I'm pretty sure Ole Miss's for Lane Kiffin he got extensions when his team went 6-6. Like there's teams, some of those bigger schools, they're 10-win extensions.
Yeah.
I don't think 8 is unfair. I think if you remember where Mizzou has been in the past, especially in those mid 2010s, like you would have died to have an 8-4 final record. Now, obviously it's 8-4 because that's the basement of what they want him to do. I'm sure that there's something in there where when they play in SEC championships, he makes more money, or, if he wins 10 games, he probably gets something like that too. And it's just not an extension, but I don't know. I think that keeps pushing you to be better. I get, we don't want to settle for 8 wins, but getting 8 wins gives you the opportunity to get 9 wins and gives you the opportunity to get 10 wins. So I'm fine with that.
I know, yeah, that's what the biggest complaint is. Why are you awarding a coach for winning 8 games? But like, that should be the minimum.
Yeah, we went 6-7 like his first 2 or 3 seasons. So, I mean, it's obviously a jump up, and it's not like we're saying, hey, win 6 games and you get this.
Looking for tickets for your next event? Tickets for Less is your #1 source. Save big on every purchase when you use promo code KCSN at ticketsforless.com.
Looking to remodel your home and in search of a top quality company to do the job? Contact Elanco. Since 1986, Elenco has been the remodeler of choice for customers throughout Kansas and Missouri. As a family-owned and operated business, Elenco provides customers top-quality products and unbeatable service straight from their family to yours. From windows and doors to siding, insulation, and bathroom renovations, there's no need that Elenco can't meet and exceed. Elenco only installs products that have proven track records of success, such as the Kohler Luckstone shower system. Elenco's installers are factory-trained professionals who know how to get the job done, not only quickly, but flawlessly. Whether you're located in Kansas City, Topeka, Wichita, or a rural town in northeastern Kansas or western Missouri, Elenco will come to you. Go to elencohome.com for more information. That's ALENCO home.com. Again, elencohome.com for more information and contact them about all your home improvement needs.
He's coached 5 full seasons. If you don't count the 2020 season, right? Because that was a COVID-shortened season. So five full seasons for Eli Drinkwitz. 3 of them have had 8 wins. So, I mean, if history serves you, like, that should be the basement. It's obviously not an automatic, especially with how good the schedule is for Missouri coming up. Like, that makes it tough. But again, it's an incentive, obviously, for his contract to build on and add more to it. I don't think it's something that is, I think Laird Veach said this on Monday, where he said it wasn't too incredibly common, but it was like, it's been done before, but it's not something that's like wildly common across college athletics and football contracts right now. But like, obviously that's the floor. So, I mean, I don't see there's anything wrong with it. Obviously consistency is key in college athletics, and having a guy be able to earn an extra year of a contract for winning the bare minimum of games, I think is a good way to do it as well. So, Drinkwitz buyout. I know this is a lot of the conversation as well. This was read by Cody as well. If Drinkwitz leaves on his own or before December 1st of 2026, his buyout is $5 million. On or before December 1 of 2027, $4 million. 2028, $3 million. 2029, $3 million. 2030 is $2 million. 2031 is $1 million. December 2nd of 2031, $0. So
I would have thought it would went up a little bit more, because wasn't it at $4 million before?
It was at $4 million. Yes, it was at $4 million before. And I think they rose it by $1 million to get up from this year, but then now obviously it's going to decrease. 27, 28. It's going to stay the same in 29, and then go down in 2030 and then 2031. It's also, this is from Cody's writing over here at Power Mizzou. Per the contract, 50% of the buyout is due within 30 days, with the 50% due 1 year following the due date of the initial payment as a lump sum or negotiated payment, which is interesting. Did Arizona State ever pay Missouri for that? How did that ever end up?
You know, I'm not sure the answer to that, because every time I still see DRS post something, I still see Missouri fans being like, give us our money. So but I don't think Missouri fans know anything, just like I don't know anything, but that would be interesting.
Arizona, not Arizona State, sorry. Yeah. Arizona paid $1.5 million towards the buyout. That's September 21st, or it's a report. So apparently they did pay $1.5 million of a $2 million. It was supposed to be $2 million settlement. All right. I don't think they fully did it. Mizzou is seeking another $1 million for breach of contract. They want $3 million.
Speaking of breaches of contract.
There we go. What a segue. What a segue. Breach of contract. Yeah, David Wilson's getting sued by sorry ass Georgia.
Here, okay. I'll explain it a little bit for those that might not know, which you should know if you're listening to the podcast. The University of Georgia is suing Damon Wilson, not the University of Missouri. They're suing the player himself.
Yes.
When he was at Georgia, he signed a contract for 14 months, basically an NIL contract with their NIL collective, basically saying that he would get $30,000 a month for these 14 months. And if he entered the transfer portal at any time, he owed back the duration of, and not, I don't mean owed back. He just owes the duration of the contract. So basically they're suing him for $390,000 because 2 weeks after he signed the contract, he entered into the portal. So now they're trying to come back and say that he owes for the rest of those 13 months or whatever it is.
Right.
Now, I get what Georgia's trying to do. Georgia's trying to test the waters, right? They're trying to be like, can these contracts for these student athletes hold up in court? I understand, because it is like the wild, wild west out there, and you do need to hold these guys accountable for things that they do and say and sign, I guess. But I don't believe in taking money that you didn't give them, right. Especially when he entered early on in that transfer portal window. He entered, I think, on January 4th or January 6th or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
That still gave Georgia 2 weeks to find somebody to come in and, play on that D-line. A lot of the Georgia fans are saying that he used up resources and Georgia then didn't have time to go and find somebody. But you're only allowed to snag players that are out of the portal, right?
Right.
So what do you mean? Like, they didn't give you an opportunity to tamper with a player to enter the portal, which Georgia is kind of known for doing. So yeah, I don't know if the University of Georgia will win, but I do think something should be done with these contracts. And I don't think these players should sign these contracts, but I get why they do. Right. I get why they do, especially at schools like Bama and Georgia. But I also think that circumstances change, and new coaches come in or new players come in, and these players still want their opportunities to succeed. And Damon Wilson, believed that opportunity was not at Georgia.
Yeah. What I'm seeing here, this is from Dan Murphy, ESPN. He wrote this. Legal experts say that Georgia's attorneys will have to convince an arbitrator that $390,000 in damage is a reasonable assessment of the harm the athletic department suffered due to Wilson's departure. Liquidated damages are not legally allowed to be used as punishment or primarily as an incentive to keep someone from breaking a contract. Several attorneys who have reviewed athlete NIL contracts for ESPN in the past say they believe schools and their collectives are using liquidated damages clauses in bad faith to punish players who break their contract early. Schools and collectives have not used the negotiated buyout clauses that typically appear in coaching contracts for athletes because the teams aren't technically paying them to play their sport. Instead, the school pays players for the right to use their name, image, likeness, and promotional material. Paying for play could make it more likely that courts would deem athletes to be employees, which is almost all college sports and leaders want to avoid, and was something that they should actually end up eventually doing. This whole thing kind of goes back to like the College Football Playoff that we started the show with, Maggie. This would be a whole lot easier if they stopped acting like this was like a school-sponsored sport. It'd be a whole lot easier if they were just like, all right, you know what, Big Ten and SEC, let's just go ahead and make our own conference. Let's just go ahead and make our own league, and we can have our own league, and we can have 32 teams, and we can take, we'll set you up into 2 different conferences, right? We have our own league, 32 conferences, 32 teams in 2 conferences. We'll split you guys up into divisions, 4 divisions for each conference. And then each division winner makes it to the playoffs. And then you have 3 wild card teams. Kind of keep the schedule similar. Everybody plays everybody type of deal, so we can have some similar ground here. No committees, no nothing. Then you just go a straight bracket into playing a really big bowl game, right? Playing a really big, maybe a Super Bowl, right? Would be what you would call it. I think that would probably fix a lot of the things, but then they have to act like it's a business. And they don't want to do that, and they need to do that. Yeah,
I think eventually they'll get to that point. There'll be a little bit more shuffling because I think they'll want to get Clemson and Miami and like a few of those bigger brands in there as well.
Sure.
Ooh, but you know what I was thinking about yesterday is I was thinking about how we went so much of our childhood and so much of like my teenage and college years, and there were no changes. Mm-hmm. Nothing. Everything was fine. And then all of a sudden, the past like 4 years, they're like, we need to change everything about college football.
I know.
Everything needs to be different. And it's so hard because it's just continuously changing. And it's hard to even keep up with what's going on because next year is going to be different. And I don't see that stopping. I agree. I think eventually the conferences are going to take over.
They have to. I think they have, especially this is different than every other sport, right? I think football is unique in a sense where it's so different than like what college basketball has done. Like where college football has gone from like where it was to where it is now is at a spot where it almost needs to be governed differently than what like college basketball or college baseball or any of that other college sports need to be governed. They need a different governing body, which they almost need a commissioner. And look, they can do it where they're a non-profit. Technically, the NFL is a non-profit. I don't know if you guys know this. Technically, the NFL is a non-profit because all the profits go back to the teams that are in the league. But it is an interesting exercise to do that. It's like, okay, if there were 32 teams, I mean, there's 18 and 8. Is there? No, there's only 16.
We have 16, and they have 18.
And they have 18.
So 34.
You could get it there, right? That's 34. So that you probably don't want Northwestern. Get Northwestern out of there.
I know, but aren't they like they're like a founding member?
Yeah.
I think that's the thing. That's the thing with Vanderbilt too, is that they're a founding member of the SEC. So anytime anyone's like, we should kick them out, they're like, they won't do that. Because obviously you've always heard things about like us. Yeah, Rutgers.
Yeah, see, that's tough with Rutgers because Rutgers is like the first school.
Yeah, the first one to play a game. So there's all these like, technicalities or whatever. And then you don't want to leave out, like we said, Miami, Clemson, Notre Dame.
They need to join a conference. I don't know if we talked about that. They got to join a conference. They can solve a lot of their problems by joining a conference.
Yeah, they have to join a conference. Their schedule next year is so incredibly weak.
Oh, yeah, let's look that up.
If they lose one game, I would not put them in the playoff. Their schedule, or maybe they can lose one. If they lose two, I wouldn't even put them in contention. It's crazy. The amount of teams that they play, that I think they have Miami on the schedule, which will be probably their best team.
Yeah, they do.
That they play, and maybe USC, but
yeah, they get USC.
But I mean, what USC is a disappointment every year too.
Yeah, they got Wisconsin at Lambeau. That's kind of cool. So they have Wisconsin, Rice, Michigan State, at Purdue, at North Carolina, Navy in Foxborough, hosting Miami, hosting Boston College, hosting SMU, at Syracuse, hosting Stanford. This is going to be a neutral site against USC too. So like they've got 3 neutral site games, and their road games are at Purdue, at UNC, at Syracuse. All the rest of them are home, and then they have a neutral site against Navy, Wisconsin, and USC.
And I get that these games are scheduled pretty far in advance,
right?
But none of these teams are teams that have been super successful in the past.
Yeah, no.
So it's not like, I mean, Miami is obviously the best one, and they get it at home. And I know they went away a lot. Did they go?
Yep.
Yeah, they were on the road. They had A&M at home. But yeah, it's just when you're comparing that to schools like that are in the SEC that are going and doing these now 4 or 5 road games against pretty good defenses, pretty good teams in general, it's hard to look at that schedule. Yeah. But that again takes me back to the top 25 and people getting upset about the top 25 based on how many losses some teams have. I think that you can be a better team with 3 losses than a 1-loss team.
Yeah.
Easily. I think we need to refocus on the top 25 being the top 25 best teams and stop putting so much emphasis on, oh yeah, but you have 2 losses versus 3 losses. Because I promise you a 3-loss Alabama is going to beat a lot of 2-loss Sun Belt teams, or,
right.
I think we need to get back to that.
I do think too, the G5 needs their own championship. And And again, you could do it just like the FCS does, right? Like just like the FCS championship is. This is what's so crazy to me, Maggie, is that every other level of college football has a playoff like that's based like it is, like normal. And then once it gets to this level, there's like, we don't know what
we can't figure it out.
We can't figure this out. It's like, what do you mean you can't figure it out? Every other level, Division II, Division III.
You have a blueprint.
Yeah, NAIA, like the rec Little League team that's playing at the YMCA has a better playoff bracket than you do. Like, what? I don't understand. Like, it's not that hard, and they just like keep trying to make it as hard as possible. Like, FCS playoffs have been going on, and like they've done the same thing forever.
They just want their hands in it. They want to be like a part of this. Like we did this. Like we made this, and it doesn't need to be done.
Here's the thing:
the PCS had issues, but
they want the money without being the business, right? So they want the private equity of people putting money into these college athletics, but without it actually being a league and without it actually being its own thing. Right. When you talk about private equity, the NFL's got private equity because they have team owners. Right. And they want to be the NFL, but they don't at the same time. And that's what's frustrating. It's just like they just have to fully embrace, okay, we're going to be minor league NFL. And that's what they have to embrace. That's what they have to do. How long will it take them to do that? I don't know. We might not even have this podcast anymore by the time they finally embrace that. But that's what they have to do. Unfortunately.
Yeah, probably not. I'll be too old for that. Yeah. You might be still going strong. I might be too old for that.
We'll see. Maggie, I think that's it though. I think we squeezed every last drop out of that college football playoff. There's some good bowl games coming up. I'm excited for bowl season kickoff.
Before we end it, what game are you looking most forward to in the first round of the CFP?
Ooh.
So you've got you've got Ole Miss, a rematch against Tulane.
Yeah, Alabama at Oklahoma is a good one too. That 9-8 matchup. Miami at Texas A&M, that's a good one too.
I mean, those are the matchups.
Yeah,
because the other one is.
Where's James Madison beats Oregon?
It would be crazy. People have been saying they have like zero chance, which you never have zero chance. I'm most excited for, I think, the rematch of Alabama at Oklahoma, and I don't think any Oklahoma fans will be listening to this, but hopefully they don't take it offensively. That stadium is not that scary of a place to play in. And they beat us. I'll give them that, but it's not, they have more of like a little bit of an older generation feel to it, like a blue blood feel, but not.
Mm-hmm.
But Alabama turned the ball over 3 times in that game.
True.
And gave Oklahoma, they caused turnovers. Like their defense is really good, but they let their probably All-American Lou Grosso winner kicker win that game for them. Yeah. They didn't even have to play that good of a defense or that good of an offense to win that game. I think they won by 3. So it'll be interesting to see what Alabama can do differently than the first time they played.
That is going to be a good one. Alabama coming off a pretty tough loss to Georgia, where Georgia kind of knocked them around a little bit. Oklahoma has also been kind of a bugaboo for Alabama these past 2 years, too, with them losing in Norman to kind of knock them out of the playoffs last year, and then obviously losing to them this year at home. That's going to be an interesting one to watch. That's a good one. I think Texas A&M will handle Miami. I think Texas A&M is pretty good, even though they know that they lost to Texas, but like, we talk about that with the rivalry game.
That's a rivalry game, yeah.
Yeah, so it's those are a crapshoot on the road as well. So some good matchups. I'm glad that it is a bummer that both of the Saturday matchups do look like they might be potential stinkers, but nevertheless, we will be watching. We will be seated and we will be watching.
Yes.
Maggie, anything else?
No, I think for not having a game, I think we do.
For not having a game to talk about.
Lots to talk about, yeah.
We did have a lot to talk about, yeah. So that's going to do it for Mizzou That Too. Appreciate you guys listening all the way till the end of the podcast. We will have more for you guys here as we get closer to the game. We'll be reaching out to some people who know the Virginia Cavaliers way more than we do to help talk about this matchup here in Missouri's bowl game. Hopefully we'll have some more information, too, regarding that game as the time gets closer. We'll have a little bit more clarity. So that's going to do it for us. Make sure to hit that like button, hit the subscribe button. For Maggie Johnson, I'm Tucker Franklin. We'll talk to you next time on Mizzou That Too.